it was so awesome it will shock you to the core.
Finally, another podcast about
Godzilla!
and all his giant monster friends.
This could be the end of civilization.
Yeah, probably. So join your hosts, Chris Cicchini and Chris Casares.
Ladies and gentlemen,
You're listening to the podcast. From Odo Island. And welcome to the podcast from Odo Island. You can find us on Twitter at Odo Island Pod. I am Smooth Chris, and with me as always is the winner of the Squaw Valley Resort ski race, Slick Chris.
Oh, well, that was a good one. Does this episode have two of those? Actually,
It just may. I didn't want to take any chances, so I recorded another one. I have a lot of these locked and loaded and ready to go. I watched a lot of 80s movies growing up, so
that's great.
yes.
Well, this is a special episode coming off of our Godzilla vs. Kong podcast. How do we follow that up? With an episode about toys. All about toys. But
And,
that's all right.
Yeah, we have a special guest, Shin Robjira, from the YouTube channel Shin Robjira. And it's a good thing he was here because he could talk about these things while my pretty much role was to tell everyone to drink and to talk about how I didn't have these as a kid, so I really had no input of value at all.
Right. So, well, that's not true. You were there to slice in your charming personality.
Sure.
But we will be, so in a few minutes, we're going to talk about Godzilla vs. Kong for a little bit, and then we'll get to the meat and the potatoes of this episode, and we will have a nice retrospective on the first Trendmasters Godzilla line from the mid-90s. It's quite the convo. Hope you enjoy. Maybe we'll do more of these sort of episodes. I like these like little special piece episodes. Maybe we'll find some more. We do one on Godzilla versus Barkley. That'd be great.
Okay. Sure.
We got a comic, a commercial, and a little bit of merch. You know, that could be a whole episode to itself. But we are a week out now from the or a week and change from Godzilla versus Kong, who now rule the entertainment world. Apparently, just
Yes.
rule the box office. Apparently, they are well. At time of the we're recording, they're made about $350 million. I think that is considered to be past breaking even, or I think about breaking even is what I read. They're figuring it's probably broken even and is just making money at this point. And then
Cool.
And HBO Max. I don't know, did you see this? They said it was like the most. God, that felt like a Tonight Show like start of a line. But anyway, hey, did you see this? See this? HBO Max said that.
About this?
They are saying that is the most streamed anything on the platform, even beating out Zack Snyder's Justice League. So truly, they are ruling. Godzilla and Kong rule the entertainment world at the moment in 2021.
Did you watch any of the Justice League?
No. Yes. Wait, I did. I watched the Joker scene, and I was like, "Great, this is stupid.
Okay.
I'm not going to watch the. I'm not going to watch the 3 bajillion hours that come before this."
I watched it in 2 sittings, and I feel like that's the way to go. If you break it up to like 2 different movies, and here are some spoilers. The first movie is everything up until they figure they have to resurrect Superman, and then the second movie is everything from when they resurrect Superman on. Like, if you do that the way I did it, it's awesome. Like, it's really good. I can't recommend it enough.
Yeah.
I know people were sour on these movies previously, and I wasn't really. I was lukewarm on it. The Batman vs Superman was the only one where I was like, I don't like this. But
yeah, I didn't. I haven't enjoyed most of the DC movies.
But
I haven't seen all of them,
I enjoyed. It was very like dulled in terms of colors. I thought the other version looks better. They did a lot better job with the color palette, whereas this is very dulled down. It's like The best way I can compare it is if you're playing a PS4 game and then that has been remastered from a PS3 game, and so you go back and play the PS3 game after you played the PS4 game. That's probably the best way I can describe how it looks. Plus, it's in 4:3, and that is just sacrilege.
Oh, that's yes. I forgot about the 4:3 controversy.
Yes,
but isn't there also like a black and white version too out now? Like a grayscaled one or something. I was like, okay, let's pump the brakes here a little bit. But
back to Kong versus Godzilla.
Yeah. So we were talking about offline of to kind of round out this intro. Where does the Monsterverse go, or where we want the Monsterverse to go from here? Should it continue? Yes. Assuming there are no copyright issues, licensing issues, whatever. Just what do we want? And what do you want, Smooth?
Oh, I'll go first because this was offline. This was kind of my idea. I wanted to book a trilogy of movies to come after this because we already have like 4 movies so far. So get 3 more in. First movie, Mothra, standalone film. So we get Mothra's rebirth, but we also get Ghidorah's rebirth. So it's basically Mothra against Ghidorah, and you might get some other monsters thrown in there at the end to help out. But that's my idea for movie number 1. Movie number 2, we get another Godzilla standalone movie where people are deciding that, for the most part, they should have more places underground to live. And what happens is they dig too greedily and too deep, and they awaken something, Destroya. So we get Godzilla versus Destroya movie for the second one. And then to finish it all off, we get a nice 4-on-4 or 5-on-5, something like that, like a Survivor Series type of battle royal, destroy all monsters concept with a bunch of good guy monsters against a bunch of bad guy monsters. Finish it off with something really big and dumb. So I think when you said the Mothra thing, it made me think of like, it would be good like if there was like a trilogy or at least like a duology of movies, if like for maybe something like Mothra or Rodan, you got like an HBO Max like miniseries, like kind of like how like Disney Plus is like The Mandalorian, you know, and or like WandaVision to the MCU. I was like, this is the day and age of the one-off miniseries in your shared universe, like. It doesn't have to be like Mothra or Rodan, but well, I guess we're going to get a Kong anime series. So I guess that's kind of filling that void. Yeah. I kept it to movies just because we've only had movies really so far for this Monsterverse, and I just figured I'd continue down that medium, but a series would be great. I'd love it.
Yeah. I was also thinking of a trilogy type setup. And, I think it's time that the Monsterverse tackles an alien invasion, is what I think. And I think you get a 3-movie, like, it's the Invasion of Planet X trilogy, right?
I stayed away from this on purpose to leave this to you.
Yeah, this is, because I think, like, you have your first movie where, and I think Godzilla and Kong have to be, they're partners the whole way through. And I think maybe, like, that first movie, it's the setup to the alien invasion. Maybe there's something like Planet X is, invading Earth because they figured out whatever that power source is in the Hollow Earth, like that can fuel them or whatever. So
yeah,
that's the MacGuffin. Either way, they're invading, and maybe the first movie is like you get the intro to the aliens, and it's a smaller force, and like maybe Godzilla and Kong team up against like a someone like Megalon and maybe like another mid-tier kaiju. But then I think in the second movie, it's basically it's going to follow the Star Wars trilogy. The second one's like Empire Strikes Back, where the aliens effectively the good guys are in peril in the second one. And I feel like this all kind of culminates with ultimately Godzilla and Kong having to repel the alien invaders with their heralds Gigan and another King Ghidorah, but more like a Showa-looking King Ghidorah.
The blue and red one?
Yeah, could be, yes, sure. Kind of like, but like either way, like it looking more like Showa and being like, yes, this is like this King Ghidorah is worse than the one that was like stuck on the planet.
I was just
in
thinking
Cave of the Monsters.
of that episode of It's Always Sunny where they do the Lethal Weapon 5 and 6 movies, and in 5 Charlie's like the Danish henchman, and then the 6th one he's the brother of the Danish henchman who died, and he pulls out the picture and it's him standing against the mirror, but it looks like he's twins.
Yeah, could be like that. Or, I don't know, maybe we really get Mecha King Ghidorah. No, but I guess, that would be hard to do. But either way, that's a trilogy of movies repelling the alien invaders. And then you can work in all the other, Mothra, Rodan, whatever other titans you want to work in. You can have them be all part of the Earth Defense Force. That would make money. Come on, you get Godzilla and Star Wars, combined together. You can give Madison Russell a lightsaber somewhere in there, and we'll be all set.
My name is Madison. Madison what? Madison Skywalker.
It'd be perfect.
Yeah, so I just thought it'd be a fun little thing to intro the episode with is a fantasy book. We do the OIWF, so we're used to fantasy booking. So just having fun with the idea of what could come next. That's all.
Yeah.
And but before we go to the Trendmasters section, I do want to talk about a few things that we missed on our Godzilla vs. Kong review from last episode.
We were tired, for the record.
Yeah, I think we covered a lot of ground, and we missed just a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. First was I wanted to talk about how the Hollow Earth was like straight out of Journey to the Center of the Earth, the Jules Verne novel, which is actually based on an old actual science theory. So there is. It started off as like a scientific theory that turned into a science fiction novel, which then paved the way for a science fiction movie to present it as science. That was the big thing I missed, that I felt like an idiot for not bringing it up, because I made it a point to point that out. Like, I was like, this is awesome. I love this. Which also ties into Back to the Future 3, because that was Clara, Doc Brown's love interest's favorite book.
Well, there you go. You got your addendum.
Oh, also, the Skarsgård dude at the end of the movie, he's dressed like Marty McFly.
Oh yeah, he was. That's a pretty good point. I mean, I guess we can add it really quick, but the novel is out. The novel has it sounds like novels for these sort of things usually kind of based on earlier versions of screenplays or whatever. Or I'm guessing this is probably actually based on the screenplay before it was cut down. It doesn't have a ton of extra stuff in it, but I was I guess it has a whole slew of scenes that would have taken place before Godzilla arrives in Florida at the beginning of the movie. Mm-hmm. I guess there is something about Ren Serizawa, his own internal monologue. He refers Godzilla as brother in his head, and it's that backstory of him hating Godzilla is, I don't know, it doesn't sound like it's super fleshed out, but it sounds like there's a little bit more motivations there. But also it's kind of I was wow, it's really fleshed out. Then he just kind of dies like a goon in the movie. He's just kind of killed abruptly. So maybe it was actually better that you didn't get all that hyped up backstory, because then it would have been even more shitty if you hype him up and give him that much backstory than just snuff him without really doing anything.
True. That was the one thing we felt was really lacking. Our one little tiny complaint was Mechagodzilla's design was and then the heels were not really presented in the most efficient way. I feel like it could have been more in that bone, but overall, I really liked the movie. Yeah,
I think I honestly feel too, it was probably edited in such the way it is that this is people we both know friends of ours who didn't see the other Godzilla movies who watched this one and have said, oh, that was a really fun, good movie. It was a good jumping on point for new people, because they don't have to be bogged down with, not bogged down, but they don't have to know everything that happened in the last 3 Monsterverse movies. They can kind of jump on without all that random backstory.
And it's also this movie serves two purposes. One, it presents the other movies really quick at the beginning in like a tournament style, so you get the gist of what happened in those movies.
Yeah.
And then it also has a good stop point to where if this were the end of this Monsterverse, it's a perfect like ending point too, because then you realize Kong gets to go live in Hollow Earth and he's home, and then Godzilla gets to keep patrolling the surface and ruling the world, basically.
Yep, so, he's back to being a grasshopper.
Yeah, so each monster has like their own victories at the end. They both win. It's a win-win.
Yeah.
It's a win-win-win because they won and I won too because it was a good movie to watch.
Well, that happiness will probably be shattered for both of them because anything that makes money will be milked dry. And so I'm sure and hope we will probably I don't know, get some more. We'll at least get more Kong in anime form, if nothing else.
Yeah. So I guess that'll do it for this intro. So next up we have our conversation about the Trendmasters figure series with Shin Robjira. And we're back here for the much anticipated Trendmasters Figures section of the podcast. I'm once again Smooth Chris, and just in case I miss it, the red tails to my blue Sonic, Slick Chris here.
Thank you.
You had to be there. Inside joke. You had to be there.
Thank you. Fuck you. Bye. But joining us for such a meaty, weighty episode and topic is friend of the pod, friend in RL, I would say at this point. First episode, you're a friend of the pod. Second episode, you are our friend for life. Maybe we'll even say Absolutely. Our best friend. Let's call you our best friend. We should all build a little apartment together on the island. But anyway, so
easy there, champ kind.
It is fantastic figure reviewer YouTuber Shin Robjira joins us again.
Yay! Woo!
I've made it back to the island. It was quite a swam, but it was worth it.
Boy, are your arms tired, I bet. Thank you for joining us again. We were kind of talking about it offline. Your channel's had quite a few weeks with some Godzilla vs. Kong reviews.
Yeah, that's been a lot of fun.
Yep. This episode will actually be airing right after our Godzilla vs. Kong episode, so let's pretend we all saw it and we thought it was great.
What a great freaking movie. My God.
Yeah.
Junkie XL with that score, bro. Oh.
I kind of already did as a shoot, so, you know.
So I think before we get started, Rob, why don't you plug your socials and YouTube channel and stuff? Because the only thing you hide at the end of podcast are dirty secrets. So,
okay, you can find me at Shin Robjira on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, all that happy stuff, and Patreon. It's all Shin Robjira, one word, like Madonna. And yeah, find me there for a whole bunch of different things. And if you got that reference, the Madonna thing, you're awesome. And I'm sorry.
No, that was great. I love Madonna.
It's from the awful live-action Inspector Gadget movie.
Oh my God, that's a deep cut. Holy shit.
Claw, one word, like Madonna.
Oh, right. God. I remember that now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we have gathered here today to do we're not going to be doing like the complete history of the first run of the Godzilla Trendmasters line. We're going to be kind of more doing like a retrospective and like kind of like our memories. We'll get into like some of the history and background, but I mean, there's so many already good existing thorough histories out there, and but I think this is like cool topic for us to kind of like take a trip down memory lane, kind of talk about how the series started, and if it does well, we'll come back and we'll do like the Godzilla 98 line and other lines, and maybe we'll do like 20 minutes on the Gamera line at some point. But
if I may, Chris, if I may,
yeah,
we need Kong. The world needs him.
Well, that's a drink. We
got one.
That's my rule.
I'll drink to that.
There was actually a Trendmasters they did show prototypes of a Kong line that was never released.
I can show you guys that if you want.
Oh well.
Yeah.
What a oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, I got the book. I got the book of all that stuff in there. So.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
That was So was that around the same time this line was going to come out? The first Godzilla line, or was it after?
I believe. Oh well, it was supposed to come out around the same time as the Doom Island stuff, as according to that book. So. It was also with the Tarzan stuff, I believe. So I think it was Tarzan and King Kong that both kind of got dissolved, unfortunately.
So I guess where to start with this? I guess we'll kind of start with the background. Well, I guess maybe a better place to start is...
the beginning.
Yes, to start at the beginning. But, Rob, when you were on before, we talked about Trendmasters a little bit. I guess more just generally speaking, was this like a big line for you and Smooth? Was this a big line for either of you guys growing up?
Absolutely, yes. Like, huge. It was everywhere. Like, Toys R Us, department stores, even the crazy dollar stores, even Seatown stores, you'd find Trendmasters stuff everywhere. And...
yeah.
What a magical time, because... after Trendmasters went under, it's like you couldn't really find Godzilla anything remotely close to it anywhere. So, yeah, it was a really, really big deal because I grew up in that thinking that was normal. and then we know what happened.
Yeah. Smooth, was this much of a lineup for you outside of coming to my house when you were 10 years old?
Absolutely not. In fact, zero. I really didn't get my first Trendmasters figure until like a couple months ago when I got Muscular Anguirus here. Yeah, this came out, I was like 9-10 years old, moving out of figures, more into video games, so I regressed back into a figure collector as I grew older, somehow.
Yeah, for me, this was, so I'm 10 years old at the time the line comes out. I think, Rob, you were a little bit younger than me. So,
yeah.
But I was kind of, and this is probably the first year and a half of like me being like hardcore into Godzilla. I think I had just discovered Godzilla, I think within that year. And I had already, or when I say me, but like my parents had already found people who were like importing Bandai figures from Japan. So I already had a small collection of Bandai figures, very small collection of Bandai figures. I think I had the 94 Mechagodzilla at that point, and maybe the 93 or 94 Godzilla from Bandai at that point. Damn. But I didn't really, but I had most of the 90s movies that were out. Space Godzilla wasn't out yet, but I think I had almost the entire Hazy series on like Laserdisc bootleg VHS tapes. So I was like, and I was subscribed to G-Fan magazine before it became a racist dirt mag. And it was still back when it was, an actual good source of news. But and so like, and that is my segue into kind of like my first introduction to the line was. So I started to subscribe to G-Fan. I think it was like issue 11 was my first one, and that was like a 94. And that blew my mind because that was the first time I heard like there was even was a Godzilla movie still coming out. I thought it ended with whatever they had in Blockbuster Video at the time, which is probably Godzilla 84. But it's first, so this will be a little bit of history, and then we'll kind of discuss it a little bit more in detail. But in G-Fan, issue 11, they first announced, they claim it's an exclusive, which I believe at the time, but now with what G-Fan has become, I wonder if that was complete horseshit. But anyway, they announced that that a Trendmasters toy line was coming, but they didn't have too much details, like a little bit of blurb.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of light on news in G-Fan magazine for the next couple of issues, but G-Fan 14 and 15 had some interviews with Dwayne Booker, who was the director of marketing, and the line now is already out. The line started shipping to stores around like Thanksgiving of 1994 was when stores were first starting to show up in shelves. And so the line's out now, and in GFan 15, I believe, they interviewed Dwayne Booker at the he was at a toy fair, and this is like that very, very famous picture of the big giant animatronic Godzilla head over the toy display comes from. It comes from this that toy fair with this interview. And I guess a couple of highlights to kind of get us started. What he said is that he noted that, negotiations between Toho and Trendmasters went smoothly, and when they asked about who would be good figures to kind of base the toy line around, Toho were the ones that suggested Mothra, Rodan, Ghidorah, and Mecha King Ghidorah, as they were popular. I mean, I think they were popular in Japan because most of those movies, especially with Hazy Style Mechagodzilla and Mecha King Ghidorah, obviously weren't out in America. It wouldn't be out anytime soon. But there's also interesting to know that Mothra would be popular, which I think Mothra is popular for fans, but Mothra was not popular as a Trendmasters figure because Mothra was pulled from the line due to sluggish sales by May of 1995. That was reported in GFan, that Mothra was coming out of the line, with a quote from Trendmasters saying that they blame it on kids just didn't see Mothra as like a monster toy, and that was why Mothra was replaced in the line with Batra. So interesting how like Toho kind of missed the boat on that one. But Dwayne Booker went on to add that Toho provided information about all the monsters that were primarily in Japanese. And so what the team did was they sought out collectors that were in America at the time to get their feedback and their input on how they thought these monsters should look, and like to make sure they kind of had like their facts right when they were like kind of putting out like the bios for each of them. And I thought this was kind of funny. And I called it in the case of poorly aged comments. Dwayne Booker was asked about what they thought with the TriStar at that time was, in their first attempts at trying to make a Godzilla movie. And I think by this point, the Roland Emmerich movie was in production, and they were asked, when that comes out in, 97 or 98, what do you think about that for the toy line? He said, when the movie comes, it'll certainly spike our sales up, and we are really happy about the movie. Comments that don't age well, because if we ever do a part 2 to this, we will know that comment did not really bear out. But one other thing that was kind of noted in the interview as well is that Space Godzilla was a goal to get the rights to at the time. That was a big goal. And Space Godzilla was just brand new even in Japan at that time. So they were really big on trying to get Space Godzilla. And then in the following issue of GFan, it was reported that Trendmasters had secured the rights to Ibra, the Kamacuras, Kumonga, Manda, Gabra, and Tidora. But I think we only ever saw prototypes of Kumonga and Kamacuras, right? I think there was a Kamacuras prototype, at some point.
I know that there was, when it comes to Kumonga, I know there was one of those battle-ready sets for Kumonga where they had like the really shiny armor and the missiles.
Yeah.
Kamacuras, I know maybe that might have been part of Doom Island, but other than that, I don't remember seeing anything else about Kamacuras.
It would have been funny if they made a Hedorah, because if he would have went the way the rest of these designs go, it would have been the first ever Hedorah with like a 6-pack. So that would have been pretty funny to see.
And more than like 6 colors. That would have been beautiful.
Yeah. And then to kind of wrap this up, GFan had a prototype giveaway, which I thought was pretty interesting, and I just wanted to highlight it, where they were doing a giveaway for a lot of handmade, hand-painted prototypes. Some were resin, some were not. Oh. And it included some like the early like walking figures, the wind-up walkies, but obviously they probably didn't work.
Yeah.
There was some prototype bendies on cards, and there was a walking, like an actual animatronic Godzilla that was very different in design than what we ultimately got for the animatronic walking Godzilla. It more looked like the 6-inch figure, but kind of blown up as like a walking figure. Huh. So it looked really cool in the prototype. I would love to know who won that, whatever happened to those. But
yeah, because I had never seen that.
And I think, Rob, I'm not going to try to put you on the spot, but I think you might know something about this, but if not, you can tell me no. In that last issue of GFan I referenced, they were also talking about the plushie prototypes that they were looking to make. Are you familiar with those?
Yeah, I'm familiar with them. I remember seeing the photos for the actual catalog used versions, and then there was a couple of versions out there that were like going to be the mass-produced products. And all intents and purposes, yeah, they looked like Beanie Babies to a certain extent, but they were still really, really cool. I don't know what it is about super deformed-looking plush toys. They're just adorable for whatever reason.
I agree. I have a bunch.
They did kind of look like Beanie Babies, which is funny because that eventually kind of happened. But
they did. I have 2 or 3.
Oh damn!
Yeah. I got Mothra, King Ghidorah, and I think the Godzilla I have, is the Beanie Baby one. But, yeah, it's too bad we didn't get those. Those are probably things I would not want back then, but...
definitely want them now.
Things I would want now. So I guess one of the first things I wanted to talk about from our memories as this line was coming up was the ads. I feel like the commercials were everywhere for this. What are you guys' memories on the advertising blitz behind this?
I have no memory of this at all. So
really?
This is all going to be
do you not remember the commercial with the babysitter? I feel like that is like the most memorable one. Where the babysitter bursts into the room and they're like, the babysitter's yelling at you. What do? A, obey her. B, don't obey her. C, hit her with thermonuclear breath. And then she gets blown away by a thermonuclear breath.
I'll be honest, I had a brother who was 4 years older than me, so the TV was pretty much always on ESPN. So I didn't see too many TV ads at this point in time.
Rob, your memories of the ads.
I remember the ads. I remember the babysitter one especially, and I remember just how over the top they would be because they're really trying to sell you this toy. So it's like, okay, how do we sell something that's only got technically 6 points of articulation? Ground stomping power, tail swiping accuracy. They would literally play up slamming a toy on the table as a feature, and it was fantastic because it's oh my god, I gotta buy this! Godzilla's claws swipe up and down, his tail swipe, and the best part was the mispronunciation of Gigan. Gigan strikes from the And what about Space Godzilla? It was so great. It was such an art form. Now you really think about it because it was so over the top. It was just a bunch of kids going "Aah!" with a toy in front of a camera, but it was so it worked. It just worked.
Yeah.
They're slamming toys on the table. That's appealing to me in my fucking 4 or 5 year old brain. There's my first F-bomb of the night.
That's right.
But they were always over the top. They were always really fun to watch. They always grabbed your attention. There would be the times where the kids would turn into Godzilla, this really poorly 3D rendered Godzilla. Their arms would turn into this.
Oh my god, I loved the
broccoli
3D
monster.
Godzilla though.
It was great. It was fantastic.
I rewatched all the ads on a playlist before we started recording. They're and it was God, what a trip down memory lane. First, there's one kid that has the super fucking 90s Guile buzz cut going on from Street Fighter, and he's in most of the commercials. I was do they just keep bringing this kid back, or do they just find another kid that looks like him? But the Space Godzilla one that you referenced is pretty funny because it's they're oh, Space Godzilla shows up, and they're smashing into fake buildings, but it ends with Space Godzilla coming down from the top of the screen. It's can Godzilla defeat Space Godzilla? And he basically crushes Godzilla, and it fades out. And I was and I remember going as a kid going did he just kill him in this commercial? But I mean, dude, they work. Dude, I loved that CGI Godzilla. I loved that as a kid. Was that our first CGI Godzilla ever?
That might have been.
I think so.
That might have been the very
think
first
so.
CGI Godzilla. It was in a Trendmasters toy commercial. Of
Oh
all
my God.
things.
And talk about like again, like referencing G-Fan. I remember it was a big deal, like in the time period that like the line was coming out. They had a special cover that had the Trendmasters CGI Godzilla. Like they made, like Trendmasters made a CGI Godzilla cover just for G-Fan.
Oh,
And I remember
fantastic.
that was like a huge deal when I got that in the mail, and I was like, "Oh my God!" I was like, "Look at this fucking thing!" But God, yeah.
swear
Oh,
so much.
also, anyway, but also, I don't know if you guys remember, but these Godzilla figures had a cameo in a blockbuster movie that came out around that time. That apparently neither of you guys looked at my notes that I sent along, because it is referenced in the notes. Huh? Anybody remember? You
Sorry.
all have seen the movie. Independence Day. The Trendmasters figures are in Independence Day.
The alien toys
It's-
are on top of the computer and everything. Well, one of them's
Yeah,
on
but
top of the
after
computer.
it's after the like initial alien attack when Will Smith's wife and son, like after they've gotten out like the tunnel or whatever, like they cut to the kid and he's playing with like it's a King Ghidorah figure and I think like a Mechagodzilla and a Godzilla figure. He's just like smashing them together, like kind of like off to the side, and they're in there. They made a little cameo. I remember that because I remember like, oh shit, there they are. But so
They made Godzilla.
getting into that original line, the main line was a bunch of 6-inch figures, either with sound or without sound. They retailed for the whopping price of $7 to $10, which actually, the more things change, the more they stay the same. And that initial line consisted of Godzilla, Supercharged Godzilla, King Ghidorah, Mothra, Mechagodzilla, Rodan, Biollante, Mecha King Ghidorah, Batra, and Gigan were all kind of like in the first like year and change or so of the Godzilla line. I think initially it was just Godzilla, King Ghidorah, Mothra, Mechagodzilla, and Rodan, I believe, in the beginning, and Mecha King Ghidorah in the beginning, and then Gigan, Batra, and Biollante kind of coming after. And then just to kind of add to that, Kmart had exclusives that came with army men and tanks and stuff like that. But
wow.
I don't know. Have you seen any of the Kmart figures? I've never been able to find a Kmart exclusive.
This is the first I'm hearing of there ever being Kmart exclusive stuff. That's crazy.
Yeah, that was the thing I kind of wanted to get into, wondering if... I figured if anybody had one, it'd be you. So,
No,
but
this is the first time even hearing about it. That's crazy.
so it's pretty much the same packaging as like the non-Kmart ones, where they kind of have like the open box, but like but then there's like a little kind of similarly the Mechagodzilla the Playmates just put out. Like there's like how there's like a little army guy kind of plasticed into it.
Gotcha.
Like there's like a little tank or an army man there, but yeah, I have never come across I've never come across one of these. I saw a Mothra Kmart exclusive packaged on eBay once. Now that was it. But
it's the first time I'm ever hearing of it. That's crazy. I didn't even know they were doing exclusives.
And then on the 10-inch side, which were $20 at the time, there was Godzilla, a Supercharged Godzilla, King Ghidorah, Mothra, Mechagodzilla with Garuda, which is a J.C. Penney exclusive, Rodan, and Mecha King Ghidorah. So, I guess, well, two things here, I guess. Let's, kind of start with this. Like, there was some pretty radical redesigns here for these kaiju characters. And, I don't know, I guess, well, Rob, were they your first exposure to a lot of these kaiju, or were you already kind of familiar with them to a degree? And then I would kind of like to see what we all kind of think of the designs then and now, how we like look at them now.
The Trendmasters line was an introductory to like most of them because I grew up with the Showa stuff. I didn't see most of the Heisei era stuff till I was a teenager. So that was like all new to me. I hadn't seen Gigan at the time. I knew who Mechagodzilla was. I didn't know who Batra was. Space Godzilla. I thought Space Godzilla was like just a toy, not from a particular movie or anything. So seeing all of that, it was like, why aren't there movies of this? And then eventually, I'm corrected by a family member. It's like, oh yeah, all those are movies. Like they all have movies. So eventually, finally getting to see some of these monsters on screen, I was a little upset that Space Godzilla didn't have the Rastafarian chest and crotch area. Like, man's had the color of the freaking rainbow on him with Trendmasters, but in the movie, he's, a little bit more mute and other stuff, amongst other things. And Gigan being Gigan and not Gigan. And Mothra, I mean, I love Mothra, but the Trendmasters figure kind of looks like a hand-painted turd with wings, so I had no idea. Batra, no idea what the heck that was. I thought it was like Mutant Mothra or something. King Ghidorah was like the... when I was a kid, I thought it was like the most silliest looking thing in the world, and then my dad's like, that's like Godzilla's like biggest like rival ever. I'm like, the 3-headed spray painted dragon, and then being properly introduced to those movies, like, oh, okay, I get it. And then Rodan and Anguirus, I thought Anguirus would be a lot cooler in the movies as a kid, and
what do you mean he wasn't cool in the movies?
I didn't like Anguirus as a kid.
Well, fuck.
Yeah, I was
just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I was one of those sick, depraved children that watched Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, and when Mechagodzilla violently rips his tongue out or whatever he did, I'd be like, yeah, get him off the screen. And now I just feel terrible for the poor guy, because like, what the hell is he doing?
My heart.
You're breaking my heart. But yeah, like being introduced to them like that, and then especially Mechagodzilla, seeing how like viciously different he was as compared to what Trendmasters was releasing, it was crazy. And don't even get me started on Biollante. Jeez.
I think Biollante has to be a whole topic in a minute. But King Ghidorah and Mecha King Ghidorah. I mean, God, I almost called you by your government name, Smooth. I sent you kind of pictures along of like to kind of look at like what these figures look like if you weren't familiar with them. And I think King Ghidorah and Mecha King Ghidorah are kind of faithful overall, except he's got like webbing between his horns. I think that's the big departure. I don't know. That was a little jarring to me, like a little subtle change like that. All of a sudden, I felt like made King Ghidorah look less imposing. But I thought it was fine overall. Actually, to this day, I still actually like the Trendmasters King Ghidorah figures more than most figures, because I feel like, for whatever reason, like King Ghidorah does not make for good figures. And Trendmasters kind of, I don't know, took a page out of or maybe Playmates took a page out of Trendmasters' book, because most King Ghidorah figures, he's like posed like he's walking. And that, I think, made like a big difference in, I don't know how he looks, but I don't know. Smooth, what do you think of the designs I sent along to you?
I'm looking at the King Ghidorah one right now and the Mecha King Ghidorah one. And I do have to say, like, the heads are kind of wonky. I think they look better in the movies than in these figures, but I would have been perfectly happy to get these as a kid if I were a fan. Like, I'm looking at the Anguirus figure too, and like this one's just like so radically different from how he was portrayed in the movies that like I definitely prefer the figure to the movies.
Yeah. Rodan's the one I actually don't like a ton in this initial line, because I feel like he kind of reminds me of like the Giant Claw. But I don't know. It was the 90s. But I mean, we haven't really said like what we thought of like the actual Trendmasters design for Godzilla. So we kind of got the original Godzilla, which was green with red eyes, and the supercharged Godzilla, which, when I was a snooty know-it-all Godzilla fan at 10 years old with my G-Fan magazines, going like, oh, supercharged Godzilla is just a way to like be more movie accurate. So, but I liked the Godzilla design overall. What did you guys think?
Oh yeah, he looked great, and he got longer arms, and he was all buff and everything, and he looked just. What's the best way? It was such a product of the 90s, and it still holds up today. Like, it's over the top, it's angular, it's got the bright colors on it. Normal Godzilla's green and silver, supercharged Godzilla's black and blue. It's just another thing that works. It just worked for Godzilla as a whole. And
Yeah.
I still dig it. I still love it. I still play with mine from time to time when I have to rearrange
Same.
the shelves.
I mean,
So-
I can't believe we've gone like 20 some odd minutes into this. We haven't even talked about how like in our Odo Island Wrestling Federation, the Trendmasters figures basically are the most dominant force in our figure wrestling fed. But I digress. But yeah, you kind of touched on it, Rob, that like it was the 90s, right? Like everybody is jacked in this toy line for the most part. Like Gigan
Everybody.
no longer has like a pear-shaped belly. Like Gigan's been doing his crunches. He's got
got the
abs with like a
pecs.
buzz.
They're all on the gas.
Yeah,
They're all on the gas.
yeah, I was gonna say. I was like, they're all hanging out with Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa. They're all working for Vince McMahon, who's pumping them on the gas. And yeah, all these figures would fail a drug test. Fortunately, we don't drug test in the OIWF. We let our wrestlers do what they gotta do. So, but with that 10-inch line, and still to this day, I haven't seen a lot of these. Like I have never seen a 10-inch Mecha King Ghidorah in person or Rodan. I don't know. Have you, Rob?
I've only ever come across the 10-inch Space Godzilla, Mechagodzilla, the two different Godzillas. I just recently saw a 10-inch Gigan, and
Oh, I have that. It's awesome.
I'm jealous.
I'll have to show you. When we wrap up, I'll show you like offline. It's like right over my shoulder. That figure is incredible.
Well, I'm sorry. I just I just had a moment. I have seen a Mecha King Ghidorah, but only on eBay. And
Yeah.
let's just say, as soon as I saw it, that's also the last time I saw it. Within a few minutes. It was one of those, I'm selling this and I don't know what I have for $30, perfectly boxed, no creases, no none of that. And as quick as I could click the buy button. Gone.
It's gone. Oh
Ripped
my
from
God.
me like a child that I have raised with all myself, I guess. But yeah, I have seen a bunch of them. I even saw the Biolante one, not on eBay, just from somebody's collection, and even that was really, really cool. But we'll save Biolante for later. But never seen a Ghidorah though. Like a normal Ghidorah, never saw that one. Or Mothra.
Actually, yeah, I think I've only seen King Ghidorah in Independence Day because that's what he is playing with.
Yeah, that's probably the only time, bro.
Do you have the so have you seen or do you have the JC Penney exclusive Mechagodzilla with Garuda? Or do you have a Garuda?
I do not, but I do have the Mechagodzilla with the back attachment for Garuda. Because apparently Garuda was sold separately as well. Just, it was really hard to find for some reason. Because when I was a kid, I only ever saw Godzilla, Mechagodzilla, and Space Godzilla. And Mechagodzilla always had that one back part. It's like, what is that for? And somebody at Toys R Us is like, oh, it's for this ship. And it's like, do you have the ship? It's like, we've had it once, and it just went away.
Yeah.
So I have never actually seen that in person. Ever.
Yeah, the JC Penney exclusive is the two of them boxed together. But yeah, you brought up a good point with the 10-inch Mechagodzilla, how he comes with like that backplate. But it doesn't tell you. It doesn't tell you what the backplate's for.
It's just there. It's just there. It's like, here you go. Like, what is this for? Who are you?
And like, I tell you, when I was like a little kid, like 11-year-old me is like taking that backplate. I was like slamming it like on his face, on his chest. I was like, where is this supposed to go? I don't understand what this is.
And then you figure out it's like, oh, okay, so you have to do this, you have to do that. This is gonna fit, and never ever.
So I don't know exactly. So I won't blow up your spot, Rob. But Smooth and I were Boston people. The stores that were around us were mostly Toys R Us's. And I don't know what you had around you, but I wonder if, like, perhaps we didn't see a lot of these things because maybe that was just what we had access to growing up.
Could be. I had a KB Toys and a Toys R Us, and I had a hobby shop that was maybe like 15 minutes away from my house called The Outer Limits, and it was this mom and pop import place where they would get like stuff that normal toy stores wouldn't get. So they would have the Trendmasters stuff there. KB Toys would have the Trendmasters and the Bandai America stuff eventually. So everywhere I went, it was just the same lineup. The Godzillas and Space Godzilla and it was the Godzillas, the two Godzillas, the Mechagodzilla, Space Godzilla, and that's all I really remember ever seeing. When it came to the 10 line, when it came to that big old wide box that the 40th anniversary collector's edition set, they had like the 3 different versions of that. But it was the one thing I never saw were the 6-inch roaring ones. Even though that was even the Godzilla was my first one technically, but I never saw those in stores, and I like any of those. Never saw the roaring 6 or 7-inch figures, and I never saw the 2-packs because there were the 2-packs with like Godzilla and King Ghidorah. Never saw those either, ever. Like, it was just the 40th anniversary sets, and the 10-inch. So there was no. For whatever reason, I don't know if I just went on the worst day of the week, this like the day after stocking day or something. But everything would be fully stocked. But then you'd see like some of the Godzilla stuff is just like slightly less visible from a side angle view because it would be gone. So all I ever saw was the 10s whenever they were actually in stock, and that's the one time a parent would say no. And one of the sets. Oh, dude, that was like the most heartbreaking thing in the world.
The 40th anniversary set?
No, the 10-inch figures, because I never had any of the 10-inch figures growing up. I have them now because I bought them. But
yeah.
I had Space Godzilla, but when it came to like Godzilla and everything, they were always there. Where it was like, okay, no, I can't ask for anything today. And we'll get it next time, and every next time it was never there. It's like first come, first serve. One of the employees even told her that, and she's like, "I'll be here." It's like, no, it won't.
Well, it was
Trendmasters.
You kind of touched on the wave of just how much stuff was like released, because it wasn't just the 6-inch to the 10-inch. We also got bendies. In that one in particular, Godzilla had a green variant and an aqua blue variant. I have the aqua blue variant. I had to make a judgment call. I was like kind of holding it under the light. I was like, I think mine's the aqua blue one.
I have the off-colored one still in the box, and I have the darker green one out of the box. Yeah.
Oh, I have a handful of them. There was a couple. It was like King Ghidorah, Rodan, but I have the King Ghidorah one, but that's about it. I never had a lot of those. So they also made 2-inch hatchlings, which were minifigures that came in an egg. I think I had a couple of those, or have a couple of those. There was also a lot of variants, actually. Like, when I was like kind of going through this, I was like, there's a lot more variants in this first run than I thought there was, because Godzilla has a straight neck and a crooked neck in the hatchlings. Yeah. I have never seen the straight neck one in version, but I have a couple.
I have the straight neck.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you? I just have the crooked neck, and I thought the crooked neck was the coolest thing ever. But, like, he looks a little bit more
too.
like... Yeah, he looks a little T-Rex-like, almost in that.
I always found it weird how they made one of Mechagodzilla. It's like, oh, he was hatched from a mechanical egg.
Yeah.
It's got Ethernet and everything. Just a silver egg. It's like, oh, so what came first, the robot chicken or the robot egg?
Speaking of robots, there was 2 11/12-inch walkers. There was Supercharged Godzilla and King Ghidorah. I have both of those. They are both pretty hideous, but they were pretty sweet though. Like, I mean, like, Godzilla is like, he's so like narrow and like stretched out. Like, he looks like a little weird. But and King Ghidorah has like really, really short, stubby horns. But I mean, at the time, like when I was a little kid, it was like the fact that these things, like I could turn them on, they would walk into each other and roar. I thought was like just like the coolest thing ever.
The coolest thing in the world.
There was random stuff like a bank. Actually, I have the bank now that I think about it. A bendy key ring. There was growing Godzillas that you could dump in water. There were jumpers, like the old like suction cup, let them go, off they go. But then there was, you mentioned the 2-packs, and you and I were talking about this offline. This is where like I had said something to you. We were chatting offline once, but like some of these molds in these 4-inch 2-packs are kind of similar to some Bandai molds, but you kind of had even some more connections with that.
Yeah. It's the strangest thing because, Bandai distributed a lot of the Trendmasters stuff in Japan. So you don't really expect like another company to have those molds or do something with those figures either, but there's a couple officially released figures out there that are very much similar to the Trendmasters stuff. I forget the name of the company already. I think it was Yukata.
Yeah, Yukata.
Yeah,
I think
they did a Mechagodzilla. They did a Godzilla. There's like a whole like little subline of all that, and they're just slightly sized up versions of the 4 to 5 inch figures. And it was crazy because I had never seen this before, and I'm just like going on eBay doing my thing, seeing what's up, what's not, all that other stuff, and I see this Mechagodzilla. I'm like, why is the Trendmasters Mechagodzilla packaged like a Marmot figure? Like, what's going on here? And then it just led to that freaking rabbit hole. And then I mentioned it to you, and then things started making a lot more sense because you did your investigative journalism and you found like the company and how it was like a subsect of like Bandai, something like that at one point. And it's crazy because you'd think something like that's rare, but no, they're like going for like $15-20 on eBay. It's nuts. Huh. It's nuts.
Yeah, like it's I think the example I sent you is like I had this like we talked about when we did an episode on Godzilla versus Space Godzilla, like I talked about like the merchandising explosion that Toho and Bandai were doing around that movie. It was like something like they were making almost like $500 million in merchandise off of Godzilla in 1995, off like these movies that only cost them $5-6 million to make. And it's like, and it seems like a lot of stuff around that time probably got reused for other stuff because like the 4-inch Godzilla figure bears like a striking resemblance to some Bandai 4-inch figures that came around the time, but the heads are completely different because one looks like Godzilla 94, 95, and then the Trendmasters one is like he's been working on his traps and his delts, and his neck is huge and muscular. So I guess a couple other things to wrap up this first wave before we get into the Monster Wars wave is that we've got the wind-up walkers, like the little 3.5-4-inch walkers. I love those things. The Godzilla, Mechagodzilla, and Mecha King Ghidorah. Like I don't know. I'm a sucker for wind-up toys. I like wind-up toys.
Never seen those.
And then they had micro play sets that were inside, like it was Godzilla's head. You would open it up. Yeah. Do you remember Mighty Max? Either of you growing up? You might be a little on the younger side for Mighty Max, Rob. But do you remember that, Chris?
I am not a Mighty Max guy. Sorry.
No? Oh, well, I'm back on my island of one. But anyway, they were like cool. They were cool play sets. You opened the head. Like Mighty Max was like an idea of like it was like little travel play sets, and like you would open them up, and it'd be like a whole like little play set with like some cool gimmicks on it and stuff, and Trendmasters basically totally ripped that off for Godzilla, and they were pretty cool. They were like little mini destruction play sets and stuff.
Dude, this looks awesome.
The Mighty Max or the Godzilla ones? Mighty Max is awesome as a kid. I loved that as a kid, and then I was stoked when we got the Godzilla ones.
The Man-Eater set looks awesome, and you can get it for like $22. That's great. Wow.
I think they tried to make a cartoon around Mighty Max. I recommend not watching that, but getting the Mighty Max toys. But
oh dear.
Last thing about this wave, it's not a Trendmasters figure, but and I've talked to both of you guys about this offline. Rose Art made a Godzilla figure maker, which I think will probably be talked about in much more detail on one of the either this episode of the podcast Moto Island or the last one, but very interesting thing because so the Rose Art figure maker, Rose Art was a company or is a company that was making a lot of play molds for kids. They did all sorts of different lines. They got the Godzilla license, and on the box art they used the 4-inch Trendmasters figures of Godzilla, Rodan, and Mecha King Ghidorah.
Yeah.
And I recently acquired this. I think I sent, Chris has, I made figures for Chris for him to paint. I've been doing nothing but being a Rose Art figure maker assembly line for the past 2 weeks because I bought a big thing of molding clay and I just keep making it. I made my wife a set and I said, you gotta paint them whatever colors you want. And I just said, I'm gonna keep making these until I run out. But they do not resemble the Trendmasters.
No, they don't.
Figures that are on the box. But what's really funny is that on the box they show the mold for Godzilla, and they have an all-white Trendmasters Godzilla in a mold in a pose that does not match the mold on the box. It is very funny. But either they're kind of good Trendmasters-esque, but it's just such a weird little piece of, I don't know, collection history. I don't know. Just an odd thing.
I'll talk more about the Slickmates figure collection that you gave me when we do the figures. That's for another time. It
occurs to me I keep calling them Slickmates, but I should be calling them Slickmasters instead of Slickmates.
Slickmates is better. I like
Slickmates.
Yeah.
So I said we were going to get into Monster Wars, but I kind of skipped this, is that all these figures and all future figures would come packaged with little trading cards and stuff like that had cool Trendmasters art on the front, except for, again, Rodan, because it looks like the giant claw. But on the back, kind of had bios and stuff and some abilities. They also had a couple Godzilla versus King Ghidorah ones and Godzilla versus Rodan and whatnot. But they also came with a comic book, which now sometimes sells for insane amounts of money. But comic book, Rob, you have we were just talking about this because spoilers. We took a quick break there for people listening at home, and when we were offline, you were showing the comic book, which it's cool for what it is. It's Godzilla, I think it's like a company steals Godzilla's egg or something, and then Godzilla, Rodan, and Mothra attack New York to get the egg back from some evil knockoff pharmaceutical company or some shit like that, and they deploy Mechagodzilla, Mecha King Ghidorah against Godzilla.
I just want to say, Godzilla is huge. Look at the hand he has around King Ghidorah's head right there. That's a massive Godzilla.
Yeah, scale means nothing on that cover, but
absolutely
when we took that quick break, you had a really cool item that I forgot all about, but God, triggered memories as soon as you held it up. It was a postcard.
Yeah, it's a Trendmasters postcard, and on the back is what used to be their address, I'm sure. And opening it up, it says, "Thank you for purchasing a Trendmasters toy. We at Trendmasters strive with great enthusiasm to design, produce high-quality toys. This is why your opinions and suggestions are greatly appreciated, so please inform us of your feelings. Your thoughts now and in the future will help us continue to strive for excellence." So basically, it asks you a bunch of questions. What store? Did you get this from? Was it given to you? Was it a personal purchase? How did you hear about it? What's your rating? What are your favorites? Comic books, TVs, toys, video games. What do you like most about it? What would you change? How many other Trendmasters toys do you own? Please indicate the item number. So basically, they're just right there. You can get a decent look at it. Just hey, how am I driving? Essentially, the "How am I driving" bumper sticker.
It's a marketing email.
Yeah, before email.
I think that's a good segue to this topic we've kind of danced around throughout this. Is that they clearly got a lot of those that said Biollante needs legs. So, and not only legs, thick legs,
stumpy legs, you could say.
So let's go around the room. I get to go last. But what does everyone think of Biollante's Trendmasters redesign?
I mean, I don't know why Biollante needed legs. for a figure that was going to remain stationary anyway, you know? Like, it's like, who gives a crap if it has fucking legs or not? I don't know. But for the most part, I think it's a cool alternate design to Biollante. It definitely would have looked a little bit more sensical in Godzilla Unleashed instead of her using elbows to kind of move like she did.
Right, yeah.
However that worked. But I don't have an issue with it. It's just, it's different. And considering there really isn't too much of Biollante out there in the market, it's like, okay, well, we have this ridiculously expensive original Bandai release, and we've got these Trendmasters figures that got stumpy feet.
Smooth. I think you just got to the picture of Biollante.
Yeah, that's a very good observation. Very accurate. Yeah, it's weird that he's got feet, but if this was what was available at the time, then of course I'd get it. It's not a bad design. It's not a bad figure at all. Very, very 90s. I would say that, but
yeah.
I think it's cool. I like the feet. Oh,
yeah,
I can't say that. That's gonna come back to bite me.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna get isolated and sampled.
I
like the Biollante redesign. But you said it. It's so 90s. I could picture like a whole bunch of people sitting around in a room and Trendmasters going all right, we got the license to Biollante, but I don't know, this plant without legs ain't gonna sell. Let's put some ripped, thick legs on there. It's gonna, you know what? It works on me. I don't know. I like it. Biollante looks really ferocious and again, somehow jacked. Biollante has tendrils and she somehow looks jacked.
Yeah.
Just
all them tendrils is easily fucking lifting their body weight, man. That's crazy.
Yeah. Also, I didn't touch on it, but because I didn't really care too much about these things when I was growing up. I don't know how much you guys cared about, but there was a series of G-Force figures that, I don't know. Everybody, Monster Island Buddies just put out a really cool video about the G-Force figures. He nailed it right in the head and actually made me want them for the first time ever in my life when he described them as knockoff Power Rangers. And I thought that was an apt comparison. Yes. And but yeah, it was just I whiffed on those G-Force figures a million times in my life because I was like, I don't give a shit about this.
Toys in the Godzilla universe. It's not Godzilla. I don't care.
So that takes us to the Monster Wars rebranding, which comes in 1995. A lot of the existing figures get repackaged, except for Mothra, R.I.P. Space Godzilla, Mogira, Megalon, Baragon, and Varan get added to the 6-inch line. You, Rob, said something earlier about missing out on a 10-inch Mecha King Ghidorah. I have eBay alerts set for a Trendmasters Varan. I got it 6 hours after 2 Buy It Now auctions ended for 2 packaged Varans for $50. I am pissed at you, eBay. But that figure has eluded me for multiple years now, including a very aggressive bidding war that I lost on my birthday 2 years ago. But I'm not bitter. But anyway, so again, Space Godzilla with the Bob Marley flag belly, as Rob described earlier, gets added to the line, both the 10-inch ones. Mogira, Space Godzilla, and Biollante get added to the bendies. The hatchlings are updated, and another case of I have never seen these, and I'm going to again ask the room if you guys have seen these. Space Godzilla, Mogira, and Anguirus get hatchlings. And I have never seen any of those.
Can you send that somewhere?
Yeah, there's some of this came from magazines and some of this came from there's a really good Wikizilla article on Trendmasters that has pictures of some of these, and that is the only time I've seen these. And
yeah, I can't even recall Anguirus, Mogira, and Space Godzilla. Yet again, another case, mechanical egg. But it's like a slow cook.
The Anguirus one I think is kind of like an all. I think I have bootlegs that are actually based on the hatchling. But I don't know that. That's just guessing on my part. But and then even when I was a kid, a set came out that I kind of thought jumped the shark a little bit with Trendmasters when they started putting like missile firing power armor on Godzilla.
Yeah. Power armor.
Even as a kid, I kind of whiffed on those. I was not interested in those. I was like, I don't need Godzilla with like these weird missile. I like Godzilla because he's Godzilla. Like I don't want Godzilla to have like
I don't need faux Mechagodzilla. I just want Godzilla.
Yeah. The best is like Mecha King Ghidorah had like
clothes.
Exactly.
The best is like Mecha King Ghidorah has a power armor set too, and it's basically just like Mecha King Ghidorah armor on top of Mecha King Ghidorah, which I didn't really understand.
It's Mecha King Ghidorah Plus. It's the DLC edition.
But I think the three figures that I really wanted to kind of talk about and memories of, or what we have now or don't have now, is the rarity of Megalon, Baragon, and Varan in their designs. Rob is bowing his head in some sort of disbelief. I think there's a story here.
A great thinker, though.
No, it was a flea market a couple years ago. And
oh god.
Yeah. And when it comes to flea markets, it's like you're sifting through people's stuff that they want to get rid of, so you're not really expecting too much. You know, ever so often you'll run into that rarity. Found a guy that found I know a guy that found the original translucent like orange N64 at one of those for like chump change. So there's this one dude who's like rocking this Guy Fieri Flames button-up shirt with the spiked up hair and everything.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, coolest dude in the world. He had so much stuff on his like in his area, like vinyl, cassette, CDs, movies, figures, and everything, and literally all taped together were those three figures in their boxes.
Oh my god!
I forgot my wallet. So I looked at the guy. I'm like, listen, I love Godzilla. I could literally tell you anything right now. You can quiz me on this. Let me run home, get my wallet, and I will pay you whatever you ask. He's like, oh yeah, sure, dude. What out? Woo! And I drive home. I get my I go right back. I even forgot to put my car in park, so it's kind of like slowly approaching the garage door. So I hop in, fly back out. One of those big packing trucks just so happens to not check his size before he goes under a traffic light. And he takes the traffic light with him, and it falls and hits two other cars. And suddenly I find myself stuck in a traffic jam at an intersection for 3 hours.
Well, first, I thought the story was going to go way fucking darker. But,
no, nobody died. Everybody was okay. There was no blood, no loss of life or anything. The only thing was lost was my chance to get these freaking figures that this dude apparently wasn't even charging anything for. By the time I got to the flea market, it was pretty much just done. They had to close up shop because it was a Saturday right before Mass, and they had to hightail it out of there before night Mass on Saturday. And I'm like, do you know the guy's name? Do you know I can get in contact with him? And they're like, no, sorry, nothing. And I would go back to that flea market at least 3 or 4 times and never saw him again.
They're like, oh, that was old Chip Trendmastery. He died 5 years ago.
Large Marge.
I remember old Chip Trendmastery. That's a great lad he was.
Oh, no.
Really caring about the kids.
That is yeah, that I can see why that haunts
heartbreaking
you to this day.
It hurts because now I see what those figures pull for when they're on eBay or something, and it's like,
yeah,
fuck. There we go.
Yeah,
my highest viscosity fuck of the night. Just
it's good. It's healthy. Let it out.
It was the most moist of all fucks.
Yeah, I can get worse too.
Yeah, those. I mean, Varan is like one of my favorite kaiju of the whole Toho universe. Even though, granted, he kind of has like Titanosaurus snout going on rather than Varan snout going on. But either way, 90s Varan. But yeah, like, God, these things are like, it's like they just command like you'll find like kind of beat up loose ones for like over $100, and it's
paint scuffed off. There's something broken sometimes, and it's like, the fuck did you do to your toys?
Yeah. You need a loving care of these. But like from like a design standpoint, like, I don't know, Megalon is, I guess let's just hit him really quick, like around the room. Megalon, I'll start. Like, he's been on the same workout plan as Guy again. He's got like the crunchy abs and stuff like that. But he's got kind of like curved claws and stuff.
Yeah,
but
the curved.
I don't know. But he's cool, but I don't know what you guys think.
Well, Megalon was always one of my least favorites. I always hated him from Destroy All Monsters Melee, because you could kind of cheat and go underground. It's kind of like always the odd job of that game. But this is like, you know, who's the bug guy in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? He looks like that.
Baxter? Is that the guy's name?
Baxter Stockman.
Baxter Stockman?
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. He looks like Baxter Stockman with Gigan arms, kind of.
Yeah,
With like,
I can
he's got
see
the
it.
hooks.
Listen, they're gym buddies. they're gym and juice buddies, is what they are. Or gym and gas
it's a
buddies, however you want to call
the
it.
90s.
I mean, especially Varen. Jesus.
Rampant in the locker room.
Yeah. Varan is like, his biceps are like out of control.
Those are huge
Varan
biceps.
looks cool. I like Varan. He's like all spiky and stuff. You know, that's a cool one.
Yeah,
That's a cool redesign.
he may share a lot of. He may share a lot of traits with another figure we're going to talk about in a moment that I like a lot.
Baragon looks like burnt popcorn.
Yeah, Baragon looks like a dog. Just kind of looks like a dog.
Dog with dandruff.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the Baragon design. That's probably the weakest of the three. Not even. I think no, that is for a fact the weakest of the three. Elusive.
I agree.
The three elusive ones.
He looks like a Hell Knight or a Baron of Hell from Doom 64.
He does. He does.
That's a good comparison.
The bear, yeah. I can see it.
So around this time, the micro play sets, they also expand. I think there's a Space Godzilla head one. I think there's a Mecha King Ghidorah one that comes out. But we get what I think overall, it might be one of my favorite pieces of merchandise. We talked about it briefly earlier. It's the Godzilla 40th anniversary set. There's a regular version and a special repaint version, which the special repaint version now sells for insane amounts of money. Like, if you find one of those packaged, it's like $400, give or take. But it includes Godzilla, Mechagodzilla, Mecha King Ghidorah, Space Godzilla, Mogira, Batra, Biollante, Gigan, and my boy, super jacked up Anguirus. My boy. Probably my favorite Trendmasters figure of the whole bunch.
The Nick Adams of Kaiju.
Yeah. Current OIWF Mid-Atlantic champion, Trendmasters Anguirus. I will say of the repaint ones are really cool too. I do actually like the non-repaint variant, the non-variant Anguirus. I like his really bizarre black and purple and yellow
It was different.
paint scheme. And, we kind of touched on the designs for all these other people. I think we have to spend a little bit of time on my boy, Anguirus. So,
Are we going to talk about how he has the biggest muscles out of all of them?
Oh, he's got the 24-inch pythons, brother. I love the fact that, like, they looked at this, like, brown and gold kaiju that walks around on four limbs for the most part, and just said, no, he's going to be bipedal and he's going to be jacked, bro. He's going to be ripped, and he's going to be like the most
for a Ninja Turtles vibe here.
Yeah, oh my god, that's a great comparison. But I would like, I don't know, for whatever reason, when I was a kid, I immediately gravitated right towards Anguirus as like my second favorite monster behind Godzilla, even as like a little kid. And when I saw that figure, I was like, oh my god! I was like, look at that! He's like ripped and like looks like he could kill everything. Look at that.
This is definitely the most fearsome design of Anguirus. Like, if he looked like this, I feel like more people would like Anguirus. Like, if he looked like this in the movies, I should say.
Listen, he's popular, but just
Is he, though?
yeah.
He was popular
But I
enough
was,
to beat Destroyer in the comics. That happened.
Yeah. Actually, it's funny, like, when I was, like, going through my old G-Fan magazines for this, like, there was, like, a reader's poll section of, like, what everyone thought the greatest Godzilla movie was at the time, and what everyone's, like, most popular monsters were at the time, and it was, like, outside of Godzilla, like, Anguirus was always, like, in the top, like, 3 or 4.
Damn.
Usually kind of, like, right behind, like... Oh, he's always kind of like right behind like King Ghidorah, Mothra, and Mechagodzilla, like give or take. But God, talk about like a sign of the times. Like in the polls of like what's the greatest Godzilla movie ever in like 1994, according to like this G-Fan reader poll that had like thousands of responses. Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla '94 was considered to be the greatest movie ever, and that we haven't covered that in the podcast yet. But I think that's like definitely the weakest of the Hazy era, and maybe like one of the weakest of the Godzilla series overall.
It's a very daring thing to say for a movie that can put an entire village to sleep.
Yeah, and it's like, and it was like funny because it was like so many of the like when they posted or wrote like excerpt or they posted excerpts of like what people said when they wrote in, they were just like, oh, you know, I thought Godzilla vs. Mothra, the 92 one, was the greatest Godzilla movie of all time, but no, this is it. This is blows that away, blows the rest of the series away. Godzilla vs. Mothra 92 is pretty good, but not like... I was like, wait, are we talking about 1964 Mothra versus Godzilla? Because, like, that's incredible. But,
I thought that was a good
yeah,
movie.
just a
I've
really
never seen
weird...
that Heisei Mechagodzilla movie.
Oh, well... It's coming up for us, I guess. So.
If I win war, I'll select it.
I wish you all the luck of the world, fellers.
No,
I mean,
I
I
like
say-
watching the ones people don't like, and I try to see the positives, and then I...
Yeah, it's-
I mean, it looks
That's kind of
great.
how this goes.
It looks great, and Mickey Sagusa's in it, and that's always a plus. Because I love Megumi Otaka and have since I was a young child. So there you go.
I think everybody likes... I think what saves the movie is the fight at the end, I think. Because it's long, and it's a spectacle. But, like, for the 90s, it was a spectacle. Yeah. But, yeah, the rest of the movie
just
is
like
me. But, yeah, so I had the regular version. I didn't have the repaint version. You... Rob, you were kind of glowing ear to ear when I was talking about the value of the repaint one in the box, and I think you have that, don't you? I think that was a video.
I do. And I didn't know that the entirety of the box was going for so much because I got it for like $45.
Oh my god!
Twisty ties on. That's where this came from too. Both of these came from that. Like it really was. Unopened.
Oh, the comic and the postcard.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Like I had to I had to hair dry the tape off because the tape was so old. So I didn't ruin the box like it was like glue.
Oh, that's a good idea. I never thought of doing that. I was just burning my tape.
I had no idea. Like I really didn't. Like it was the weirdest thing because I never knew they existed. And then the person who sent me the auction for it's like, hey, you better get this now because this thing's gonna go blah, 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 blah. And I think I bid on it twice, and then it ended, and then I never saw it again. And then just slowly but surely, like a couple months later, the singles go up, and then the whole box sets go up, and I'm like, oh, so people are, rediscovering that they have these. And that's the last I remember. I didn't know that people were like janking the prices up for this thing.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, the pandemic has done wild things to particularly Trendmasters Godzilla figures. I've noticed like a huge spike in value and what they're going for over the past year. I mean, like everything,
all because of the influence of the OIWF.
Yes, let's go with that. The podcast from Moto Island did that to Trendmasters figures, but yeah, it's like
we
I
have
feel
to
like
take credit for every time.
But it also like makes me wonder because like baseball cards have like exploded over the past year, like in value again. And I go like,
Basketball
are
cards
these like
too.
I'm like, are these like Trendmasters cards? Like, are they worth something more now? But because I saw an auction for like the comic book go for like $100, and I was like,
That's
wow,
crazy.
We are living in wild times.
Truly some
but I
different
think,
times.
But I think this next figure line, I think Rob, you have a lot of info right there in front of you. So set for 1997. Was supposed to be the Doom Island line, but it never got a R.I.P. Well, but it never really got a release. The figures that made it out got out to the public through like giveaway contests, a lot through the Trendmasters website. In this line, notable things: Biollante got a 10-inch figure, which I imagine is extremely fucking rare. Anguirus got a battle armor figure, which I have seen pictures of. Kumongo was going to join the line. Really odd concept that was going on here, where like a lot of like the monster is going to be packaged like fighting dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And there's also like mega mutations too, but I think we'll come back to that. But I think really weird.
Funny that you say that.
Really weird line that just didn't really see the light of day. But you have a figure purchase catalog in front of you, and there's a lot of Doom Island stuff in there. So I'll defer to you to kind of let us know what you got.
It's funny that you mentioned Mega Mutation because that is the first thing that was featured on here, the Destroyer Mega Mutation.
I guess let's get into it. We were going to get a Destroyer and Godzilla Mega Mutations, which basically their chests are going to open up and have like some weird...
the crazy kiss-inspired spikes on the shoulders and everything.
Yeah. I don't really get the Godzilla, but that Destroyer, though, looks amazing, though.
Oh, yeah. It's crazy, though, but... They list this as like the flagship for the Doom Island stuff, and they say big, bad, and totally transforming. Each giant posable action figure has hidden weapons and transforming features that become mighty weapons of warfare, with extending ribs, shoulder, and shin spikes and posable wings. Collector's trading card included, window box, yada yada. But yeah, like these were supposed to be like those super deluxe figures that you got because it came with extra stuff, and it's really cool, honestly. But
yeah,
it's it's a shame that they never came out. But speaking of which, we were talking about the dinosaur sets, which I actually have. And funny story.
But you do?
Yeah, I have these. They were unboxed, I believe. I think they weren't catalog uses, but I think they were on sale at not on sale, but like on show at like show or whatever. But we have Mechagodzilla with the Stegosaurus and the Raptor. My version, he doesn't have the little Samus Aran blaster hand or anything, and the mouth isn't painted on the one I have. And then we have Mecha King Ghidorah with 2 Raptors and a Pterodon over here, which these figures, I believe, are sized down or were used for another set that was that was before Doom Island. I don't remember which. And then we have Godzilla versus the T-Rex and Velociraptor over here. And these were, I know it's ridiculous to think, but these were part of the set. These were the sets that were sold off to people for like the giveaways and everything. Like when Trendmasters was like closing up shop, they actually found a bunch of these, all of these like boxed up and everything, and they sent them out to like contest winners and stuff. And you know, when a new line comes out, that means you get to re-release older figures with new paint. So there was a Doom Island Godzilla who's like looking like he's got bad dandruff.
A little more blue.
And we got the different green, and we got Biollante. We've got a little bit more of an intense paint job on Space Godzilla over here. A little bit less Rastafarian, more lasagna looking over there.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yep.
Yeah.
What's green?
And then they were going to
Trendmasters Space Godzilla's got arms, by the way. He's got good arms. That's Space Godzilla.
We're going to do it with the anniversary figures as well. If you can see, Godzilla's a little bit different. Mechagodzilla's got the black wash to him, as does Mecha King Ghidorah. And they were all going to get like these radical like repaints and everything, and they were all really, really cool. And I believe the next page, the next page will have Varan and Baragon and Megalon over here for you guys to see. And Megalon looks like he found something interesting on the floor. I don't know what. But this is probably one of my favorite pictures for something of this line. I don't know exactly what this was, but look at that.
Oh my
That's
god,
cool.
yeah. It's so
okay.
what Rob's showing us is like looks like a giant sized Godzilla with like a 3-piece tail. Like looks like this 3
He's got the
pieces
Shin
in there
Godzilla
that,
tail before Shin Godzilla. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a very long tail. But
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Dude, what a trailblazer.
chonky. And then we got the power up figures with Godzilla rocking his Mechagodzilla swagger. And we got Mecha King Ghidorah. And then next is Anguirus and Kumanga over here. So we have Anguirus looking like
Yeah.
it's just funny. But then you got Kumanga, which actually not too long ago was discovered and bought by a collector. And
Wow.
it looks fantastic. It really does. And I'm jealous, and I will hunt them down and find them. And then we got more of the powered up figures.
Oh
so
boy,
basically,
Mechagodzilla looks like he does in the poster for 94.
the Orai no Roshi, I believe it is.
Yes,
I think the Mechagodzilla that I have for the set with the Raptors is actually this, just without all the bonus stuff. I'll show you guys that later. And Godzilla and Rodan looking like goddamn candle.
Rodan looks ridiculous. Battle Armor Rodan is the most. I take it back. If I want one of these, I want the Battle Armor Rodan because he's got like missile launchers on his like wings and like he's got one of those like kneecap.
He definitely looks like you could open a bottle of wine.
Absolutely. And then I think these were going to be the reissues of all the 10-inch figures, but they were going to have slightly updated paint, not much else. They were just going to go back into stock. There's Mecha King Ghidorah looking like a walkie-talkie with heads, and yeah, like it was a really interesting time because they were going to bring everything back, but they were also going to offer like whole new versions of them. And then we've got these are wow. I've seen this so many times that I've never honestly looked at this page. Wowzers. But we got more stuff over here. I think these are the electronic figures, the 6-inch ones.
Oh,
possibly.
yeah.
And we got Mogira with opening up the beams and everything. We got
He's got the
another
clamps.
Varan, and Baragon, and Megalon over here with different paint jobs and everything.
Yeah.
And another interesting thing is that that repaint set apparently was part of the Doom Island order form as well. So they're all here.
Interesting.
So I don't know.
Yeah, those repaints are pretty cool. Pretty striking
I like
colors.
the red Godzilla and the black and silver Mecha King Ghidorah.
I love
yeah.
that little guy.
Yeah.
He's so cool. And I don't know. Is there more after this? Yes, there is more. My bad. We got more of the micro battle play sets with Mechagodzilla 2, Space Godzilla, Godzilla, Mecha King Ghidorah, all that good stuff. And then the City Attack set. And I believe, this was more of the Godzilla Wars stuff that they were showcasing right then and there. And that's about it, aside from this Doom Island Space Godzilla double twofer we've got going on here with the awesome paint job and everything. So Doom Island is probably one of the biggest broken heart moments for the Trendmasters
definitely.
line. And I got Gamera here too if you guys ever want to talk about that.
Oh yeah, well, I was gonna say I'm trying to piece together a Trendmasters Gamera collection with only mediocre of success.
Well, I can send you pictures of that.
I have a boxed Zigra. I actually want it to be like loose. Like most of the series is on eBay right now in the bubble pack, but I actually want it loose. because I don't know, I think they're really cool looking figures, and I would like to kind of display them without the box. And I am not Matt Cardona from the Major Wrestling and Figure Podcast. I do not buy mint stuff and rip it open.
Unless they're starting lineups.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. I'm going to do that to a starting lineup tomorrow. Yeah, so that's I guess that kind of brings us to a close to this first Godzilla Trendmasters discussion. I guess before we wrap up, I guess is to what comes next. Like a Gamera line was going to come out, did come out. But I never really saw that growing up, and I was into Gamera at that point mostly because of Mystery Science Theater 3000. If I saw it, I would have probably begged my parents for it, but I never saw it around here. I think
Me neither.
I don't know.
Not here in Jersey,
I don't want
at
to.
least.
Yeah, I don't want to like speak out of turn, but I think that had more distribution in Canada than it had in America. But
More than
that's kind of
likely.
coming off the top of my head, and I could be mixing that up. If this episode does well, we will do more of these in the future, and we will obviously cover the Godzilla 98 Trendmasters.
There's a lot to cover there.
Yeah, that's that could be a two-parter into itself.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I guess for final thoughts, I guess on this, where does this figure series now kind of I don't know, I guess ranked, not rank like it's like 1, 2, 3, or 4, but just like, where do you kind of find it now? Like when you look back on figures now, like in 2021, like where we have Playmates now, we have these Bandai figures, we had all these X Plus statues, so many things have kind of come and gone since this series, and I feel like this was kind of like an overlooked line for a long time, and I feel like now it's becoming like a popular line for collectors. But I don't know. I mean, where are you guys kind of at with where this run was?
I mean, I think Trendmasters has really just become like a lot of people's standard, especially today, because Playmates had a really rough start with Godzilla for a theoretical lot of reasons that we don't know the official reasoning for.
I don't know what you're talking about. Shin Godzilla and Space Godzilla look fantastic. They're two of my favorite figures. They're just...
And I think Trendmasters, in and of themselves, like... I think they really proved not only their worth, but just like their stayability and their standing power to stand the test of time, just because people look back to kids' toys in the 90s. Like, why can't toys today look like Trendmasters? Why can't they do this? Why can't they do that? Why can't they be, hand painted? Why are they all machine painted? Why this? Why that? And I kind of agree with that, and I hold Trendmasters to a pretty high regard because Trendmasters was doing stuff back in the day that Bandai can't manage to do today, like painting the tail all the way to the tip of the tail. Fuck's sake! Yeah. Don't even get me started on SH Monster Arts because
they're not the only ones who commit that sin.
Yeah. So I hold Trendmasters really high in regard because it was a kids line that was not really for kids, and they managed to put out great product after great product after great product, and I think everybody can agree that it's a shame that they're just not around today, because I think they'd be the Hugo Martins of toy making right now.
To that, I remember toys at this time growing up in the 90s, and these do kind of just like blend into what was going on at the time. Like everything was like super jacked up and just beefy and spiky and cool looking. And these sort of blended at the time, but now you look back on them because like nothing's like this, and you say they stand out like a sore thumb because they're so different from what you saw in the movies that like they're pretty much their own entire redesigns from the bottom up. And like especially this Anguirus where you're standing on 2 feet and you get the spiky tail going like really far. Like I really enjoy this figure, and I never really grew up with action figures after the first run of Power Rangers. That was my last figures growing up. So like having these now, like looking back, like I definitely would have liked these as a kid, but it does kind of like blend in with what was going on at the times where everything kind of looked like this, like Ninja Turtles, Obviously, there's differences, there's stark differences, but like it's just sort of what I remember of the '90s. This is like encapsulates it.
Yeah. I think for me, like it's a very like nostalgic line because like I remember like this is the stuff I had readily available to me, but like but even like as a kid, like I had stores where they were like importing Bandai figures, and I was like getting those, and like I don't know, pretentious like little young me was like, oh, these Trendmasters figures are cool, but like they're not like movie accurate. Like at like what all like these like high quality Bandai figures I was getting at the time were like, and so it's like one of those things. I think like even as like I kind of started to get older, like I never was like, oh, I'm gonna go back and get more of that Trendmaster stuff. I always kind of got more other lines, and then as I got older and older, like especially going like the last like several years, I was like that line was like pretty badass. Like everybody looked badass. Like the designs are cool.
Agreed.
Like, you know, I think like I feel like again, like in the '90s, I think Godzilla collectors loved movie accuracy. I don't think they liked departures. And
sure.
Godzilla '98, prime example. And so I think, and, you know, I was part of that too, because again, I was like a 10-year-old growing into a teenager, and I was a little shit when I was a teenager, and so like, but you know, now it's like I look back on like, yeah, like you know, there's something you said, Rob, about like comparing Playmates to Trendmasters, right? Like Playmates, like you said, kind of stumbled out of the gate, and like you look at these Trendmasters figures, like yeah, the design choices are weird, but like they didn't cut corners with them.
No.
They didn't fuck around with them. Like they look great.
Yeah, like
yeah,
they just knew what they were doing. Like there's really no other way to explain it. They just knew what the hell they were doing, and even in Japan, they're pretty celebrated too because it's over the top. It's extremely colorful, and I know a few of my friends over there actually like really like get in deep and try and collect the Trendmasters stuff over there because it's just their thing, and they're major Marmot collectors, so that makes enough sense.
I can see that.
Yeah, you know, the formula for Trendmasters was you take some Mountain Dew and Jolt soda and steroids and put it in the vat, and you make a figure. That's what you do. And
that's
it
the
works.
perfect description.
It works.
It does.
Yeah. It's extreme with an X.
Like Godzilla.
Well, I think that I think this has been a pretty good discussion on this line. If you guys have anything else you'd like to add about the Trendmasters line, speak now or forever hold your peace.
The world needs them.
Oh, fuck, that's a drink. Godzilla's out there hurting people, and we don't know why. Drink.
I did want to add one thing.
Go for it.
Super 7 will be making Ultimate Godzilla figures next year.
Oh, yes.
I'm excited for that.
And I think that it's a major possibility that those figures could resemble the Trendmaster stuff because their Ultimate figures are all retro-based. It's bringing the retro designs into the today. Like, if you look at their Ninja Turtle line, amazing, mind-boggling.
Yes.
So the first thing that comes to mind is, what was the one line in the 90s here in the States that was popping out Godzilla stuff rather frequently?
Size matters?
That too.
That line?
But, like, we could see Trendmasters designs coming back in a certain way, and I would really love it if Super 7 did that. Like,
like, us as also like wrestling geeks and collectors, like Super 7 has done a fantastic job with
Indeed.
Maybe fantastic was a little ambitious, but they've done a very good job with the New Japan figures they did. Like some are a little hit or miss, but the Cardona and Brian Myers figures, like those look fantastic. Like they seem like they're big on accessories and like pop out parts and pop in parts, and like that's like what I'm really like. I was like, really Godzilla figures with accessories.
Yeah.
I heard an interview with one of the guys who is like a higher up there, and he just seems like he has a very firm grasp on the industry itself, and like knows what people want. So I always recommend Super 7 now that I've seen like what they
definitely
produce. Like the New Japan figures in particular, like I really like those. I know some people don't, but I think they look great.
Yeah, I think the only thing like the New Japan figures got tacked on was the face scan for I think like Okada was like a little wonky, but like
one of them had like that.
The rest were good.
Like they look good in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like they're very accurate.
Like
we're also talking about like very different franchises where wrestlers change like their outfits every day, and New Japan's not going to send them new reference shots to keep those attires up to date. So like this is much different when we're talking about like
they do humans really well.
Creatures.
Like I got a hand.
They do. And the articulation is amazing, and just
they just did one for the lead singer of Ghost, so I just had seen that, and I think that's hilarious because that guy is an ego bigger than the world's you know what. But they're doing Transformers ones too, and those look amazing. I actually have an Optimus Prime pre-ordered because where else are you going to get an Optimus Prime with a basketball and a surfboard?
Isn't there like some tie to with like the head of Super 7? Like they were tied to an older Godzilla figure line or something like that. I remember like when they put out the press release announcing it, they said something like, "Oh, like one of the first things I worked on was this Godzilla thing, so we're coming full circle again," or it was something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was.
I don't know,
but I remember going like, it was like
I'm excited. I'm excited for the Ultimates and the
me too.
reaction figures. The little retro ones.
Oh yeah, I just got an Andre the Giant one of those.
Ooh.
Holding a beer can.
You did get that. You've been talking about that for a while.
Yeah, I did get it.
I'm curious how they're going to handle Godzilla in that format. Because it's like, is he going to be small? Or is he going to be like their ED-209 where it's like this and it comes with the figure?
I like small figures. I'd totally be down for more cool small ones like that. So
100%.
I like the small ones too, just because they're for display, not for play. So, like, the smaller they are, the less room they take up, the more displayable they are. I prefer the smaller ones. Yeah,
I can rock with that. And I could totally use less bigger figures after this Playmate Shadoozle. Jeez.
It's
I've been trying to keep up with those YouTube videos of yours, and I've been enjoying them.
Oh, I'm glad you've been enjoying them, truly. Because I'm one of those people that
they
makes
literally
a
inform
video.
my purchases.
Oh, really? Yes.
Like the Hong Kong Godzilla in particular is like one figure that strikes me as like something that I like. I really like repaints that look like that.
Yeah,
like just the purple and the blue and the green and everything.
The over the top.
Like, I think it looks great.
Yeah. I'm a sucker for that because that just reminds me of like older toy lines or even Seatown bootlegs where you would find like a mold for a figure that you see everywhere, but these guys have done it in like neon green and Pulgasari blue or something like that.
Yeah.
And I love repaints like that, and I don't understand why people don't, but you like what you like, you don't like what you don't like. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much our motto here. Mm-hmm. Like if we like something, we just say, if you don't like it, that's cool, and if we don't like something that other people like, we just say, hopefully we won't detract from you liking it.
Yeah. Exactly. It's the Godzilla X Megagearus rule, is what that is.
Yeah.
/ the anime trilogy rule.
Well, I like Megagearus.
Well, gang, this was really you should skip that episode if you go back and listen to our old ones. This was a hoot. Hopefully this does well so we can do more of these, because I enjoy doing these special one-off episodes. If nobody downloads it, then I'll never do it again and I'll weep. But you know what? We'll always have the memories and leave the memories alone, as they say.
Don't change your thing.
But yeah. So Rob, again, thank you for putting up with our foul language and joining us on this journey through the Trendmasters. The Trendmasters.
Well, both of you are just so fucking enjoyable to fucking talk to. It's just an absolute fucking dream. And anytime you guys need a third, you let me know. I'd come running.
Same, absolutely. If you ever need these, I don't have the luscious locks of the two of you. I have But if you ever need more facial representation in your YouTube videos, you just need a face on the thumbnail. I'm happy to I'm happy to be here. So and I think that is where we say goodbye.
Goodbye.
And we're back here on the island. Chris, I've been kind of lackadaisical with it lately, but did you get any figs?
I only got one this week.
Wow.
After I got like 20 last week. So, but as usual, there's always stuff in the mail. But so don't worry, this segment will never not have content. But yeah, I got one bag clip closer to completing my my bag clip collection. The only stuff that's eluding me right now, the Godzilla vs. Kong chase clips, which are Mechagodzilla and a little Mechagodzilla pendant. I don't have those yet, but other than that, I just need to piece together the original bag clip line that was based on the 2014 movie, and I got the Mothra bag clip from that. So one piece closer. I think all that's left is the two chases from that line, and there's a King Ghidorah variant where he has a different face, and then so I am just. Including Godzilla vs. Kong, I am just 5 away from a complete set of
Wow.
God, which must be 50 of them or more. So,
You might have the most cohesive bag clip set in the world at this point.
I could. I very well could. So
you are a premier collector in the world.
I'm telling you, I put them all in some little tiered shelves and put them all together. It's a great display piece. Fantastic display piece.
I mean, I don't have any of those tiered shelves, so all my figures are just flat. So sometimes the back guys don't get their due, you know?
That's I'll say it to everybody out there. You can go to Target or wherever, find those little bathroom tiered shelves. They're I don't know, $6-7. Makes all the difference for your display purposes. Also good for wrestling figures as well. I have most of my AEW figures on one of those as well.
I would just need a lot of them because I have a lot of wrestling figures, and I think it'd be hard to use those unless they're fitted perfectly for those shelves because they're crammed in there as is. So if I lose any space, forget about it. I'll have to redo the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I'm in a tough position.
I think you would. Because I have a similar Target shelf. I don't know if it's as high as if each section's as high as yours is, but they fit. That's where I have my AEW one. Yeah, and they fit in there, which helps. So, but your LJNs would not fit. They'd be too
my
tall.
LJ ones are very tall. But I do have a pretty good collection of them. So, but
that's all I got.
Yeah.
Did you get anything?
No, I've been lackadaisical with it. I haven't really been seeking them out. I do want the Hong Kong Godzilla. It's the one Playmates figure that I'm I actually want this, and I can't find it anywhere. Not that I've actually even looked.
But I will admit that is what I have in the mail because I found I found one on eBay for $20, and I figured that was fine. Cause,
I see them going for 40-ish, and I'm just too much. No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Come on. These are toys. They're not collectibles.
Yeah. $20 was fine because that's only a little bit of a markup, and with free shipping. And I'm sick because I'm sick of driving to all these WalMarts trying to find them. So,
that's
I figured
our WalMarts are just barren.
Yeah. Just
the stuff that we're interested in is perpetually just barren.
Yeah, it's they'll get something in once, and then if you weren't lucky enough to get it that one time, you'll just never see it in any of our WalMarts again. We have I don't know, there's 3 or 4 that I check every now and then, and nothing. It feels like they don't even get restocked most of the time.
No, so, I think they get one initial drive of the stock, and then that's it.
But hey, you can find all these fucking. Randy Orton, John Cena battle pack things to your heart's content at all these WalMarts. I don't know what's going on with these like weird Mattel battle packs that they've just dumping everywhere now. I can find that all over the place. I don't know who really wants
I see a lot
those.
of Roman Reigns and Finn Balor's.
I see a lot of Braun Strowman basics lately, and whatever. Maybe I'll just start a basic collection because
Oh, you don't want to do that now.
no, it's like I want to like the worst collection on the planet, just a bunch of shitty basics.
Yeah, well, the basics started off where they had a little bit more articulation, but now they're
Yeah.
just like next to none.
I know. I have a Kofi Kingston of the new crop, and it's really something.
Like I have a few basics mixed in with my elites, but they're good basics. Like, they're not like the crappier, newer ones.
Yeah, old school basics, WWE basics were
All right.
pretty awesome. Yeah, I mean for what they were, pretty sweet. I thought.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer the elites and the ultimate editions. I have 4 ultimate editions, I think now, but maybe 5. I forget. Either way, those are vastly superior figures to the basics.
It's a slippery slope that I'm not ready to go down.
I think it's a good slope to go
slide.
down as long as you limit yourself to just people you like.
Yeah, you gotta have a rule.
Yeah, it's going to be people that you really like. It can't be people that you're like, I'm only getting this figure because it's part of the set. Like that's not the avenue you want to find yourself on.
There was welcome to the WWE collecting portion of the podcast, but on the Major Wrestling podcast, there was Mark Sterling said that he was starting I don't remember what series he was collecting from, but he was getting a figure that represented everybody that was in the Super Nintendo version of the Royal Rumble video game. And he's like, I'm going to have one shelf dedicated to everyone that was in the Royal Rumble video game. And I was like, once you start doing that, you no longer have rules. You have gone off the rails.
The only problem with that is, you keep limiting yourself to Super Nintendo or Genesis rosters, or you combining the rosters?
He said specifically Super Nintendo. Because it was like
the
it was like a
inferior
childhood
game.
memory.
The inferior game is the Super Nintendo one. The Genesis one was better.
All those games suck. I hated those.
Yeah, they weren't good. They weren't great.
Yeah.
But those games were better than what came after it, in my opinion.
Yes.
People try to remember the WrestleMania arcade games more fondly than they should be remembered.
Yeah, I concur.
But anyways, the reason we can talk about the wrestling stuff at this point is because it's the end of the podcast, and we have the OIWF to talk about, don't we?
That's right. Kayfabe mode initiated.
Well, brother, what happened this week was one of the biggest things that have ever happened in OIWF history. For the first time ever, we don't have a champion.
That's right. So we mentioned last week, and as you hopefully have now seen on Twitter, breaking news, Titanosaurus he asked to meet with OIWF management, and he had a rightful reason to. He presented us with footage that showed that if you recall, during the match with Gigan where he lost his title, there was a ref bump. And, he picked out in the footage that you could see a little bit of silver revealed on Godzilla 74's skin. Godzilla 74 being the special guest referee who had a little bit of a fast count after Gigan rolled him up to win the OIWF World title. And it was revealed when confronted with this evidence that, in fact, it was Bandai Mechagodzilla all along, that dirty, no good, snake in the grass, son of a bitch.
That two-timing,
Yeah, paid off by the oh my god, what's Gigan's group? The Cursed Order.
The Cursed Order.
The Cursed Order drove the Playmates brake truck up to Mechagodzilla's house. I don't know how much money they paid him, but it must have been a large amount, and he was able to infiltrate that world title match and disguise himself as Godzilla 74 and screw Bandai Titanosaurus out of the title.
So therefore, by the power invested in us, Playmates Gigan is no longer the OIWF champion.
That's
However,
right.
since Bandai Titanosaurus was pinned to the mat, regardless of it being a fast count, he is also no longer the OIWF champion. But we do have a solution to this problem. We are going to have one last meeting between Playmates Gigan and Bandai Titanosaurus to decide who is the OIWF World's Heavyweight Champion.
And I think... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'll let you go.
I was going to say, and I think it should be a no-holds-barred match.
No DQ, no rules.
Yeah.
Anything goes. And there will be no disqualification. What? When the hell was that added?
And Deborah will be Gigan's manager. Just kidding. So this is unprecedented. You know, it's just we have to do this because we don't want to stain on this prestigious, one of the most prestigious titles in all of figure feds, the OIWF World Championship. We just can't have that.
No, we had to do the right thing, and I feel like this is fair to both parties involved, and one way or another, by the end of by come next episode, we will have a champion. We
will. Additional OIWF news: we saw Trendmasters Godzilla successfully defended his title against Jax Rodan, and not letting that victory over Bandai Kamada-kun go. He, as we reported, Bandai Kamada-kun is going to be out of action for some time. Could maybe even forever after that brutal spot in the scaffold match where Mecha King Ghidorah threw Kamada-kun off the scaffold through a table. After beating Jax Rodan, Anguirus grabbed the mic and just was mocking Kamada-kun, saying he's dead and he's never coming back. And so it's just Trendmasters Anguirus again looks like one of the hottest competitors we have here in the OIWF again.
Unstoppable.
Could be.
Yeah,
Guess he's the top dog right now with the world title held up. But
with the world title held up, Trendmasters Anguirus is effectively our champion at this point.
Yeah, for a week.
We'll also have other stuff going on too. I have a feeling that we might have some Kong action happening this week, and maybe some other stuff will happen too.
Yeah,
we'll have to wait and see.
I like when we throw up the random matches here and there. It's fun.
Yeah, that's where I'm thinking that's going to come from. Is a random Kong match is probably going to happen at some point in the coming weeks.
Yeah. Hey, we're not paying them to sit at home.
Well, anyways, that ought to do it for this week.
Oh wait, what are we doing next week?
Well, actually, it's in 2 weeks. I got to stop saying this week.
2 weeks, yeah.
I got to realize after the 2-ish years that we've been doing this that it's every other week. I don't know. What are we doing?
I don't know. We're literally booking this on the fly too.
But we've just covered the entire legendary Monsterverse. Why don't we go back in time a little bit?
Well, you only got 2 Godzilla Showa movies left. There's a bunch of other Showa movies we can do as well, but for the Godzilla line, we only got Son of Godzilla and Terror of Mechagodzilla left to do.
We also have the Heisei Mechagodzilla movie.
Yeah, and Mothra, Godzilla vs. Mothra from that one as well.
Yeah.
So
I have seen that one. So I don't know if we should do that just yet. Maybe hold off on the Mothra one, but I'm game for any of those 3.
Let's do. You have not seen Terror of Mechagodzilla, right? And I feel like this is a good time to do it because I feel like the Monsterverse has a lot of Terror of Mechagodzilla vibes.
That's why I listened to those movies because those are the 3 I haven't seen. So let's do it. Terror of Mechagodzilla.
There you go. Fantastic.
Awesome. Well, we'll leave it at that. And Chris, do you have anything you'd like to say to our audience before we go?
No.